economic depend. If you can recycle more, you're reducing the cost. It creates the downstream benefits so that you're not wasting the product. It creates the socio-economic benefits of sustainability. I'll give you a couple examples. You know, the use of recycled materials, it performs, you know, we want to call for it as long as it performs better than the current material it replaces. Obviously, we want to make sure that our infrastructure is sustainable. Use of recycled material minimizes the impact on limited resources. If we can use more, if we can recycle more limestone, if you can recycle more of the crushed aggregate, that reduces the dependence on those limited resources. Most of you may be familiar with, this is about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a big issue going on in South Florida with the Lake Belt quarries. There was a federal judge who ruled about shutting down, and basically revoked all the permits to mine the limestone here in Lake Belt. Lake Belt produces one of the best limestone in the country, and by far the best in Florida. Shutting that down was a very detrimental effect to the state. Where are you going to get the kind of limestone that Lake Belt produced? We have some reserves up in North Florida that may come close to it, but the option was to go get granite. And we don't have any granite in the state of Florida. Granite comes from Georgia and all the way up from Nova Scotia. Now think about sustainability. Does that make sense from an economic standpoint? Does it make sense to get something from up there? So it's important that we continue to devise products, policies, approaches that utilizes the limited resources we have, but also tries to recycle more of those resources. Some of the examples, obviously in recycled Portland cement concrete and reclaimed crushed concrete. We have a specification where you can crush concrete and use that as an aggregate. Recycle asphalt and pavement, so that's been a very successful approach for us. Recycle plastic and guardrail offset blocks and flexible delinear posts. Continue to utilize those products that will get recycled into transportation, because it goes to, again, to the overarching the goal, the potential of a long-term maintenance of well-being, which has ecological, economic dimensions, ecological, cultural, environmental dimension, and that's what recycling does for you. In addition, the cities and counties often utilize FDOT specifications, so recycled materials are frequently incorporated projects beyond the scope of the department. Even though we have a big budget, but there's a lot amount of work that's done at the local level, so we kind of provide the stewardship role coupled with all the help from academia and industry in trying to get there. When it comes to construction, we're trying to be incorporating the technologies of 21st century. Governor, when he took office, challenged all of us to kind of think outside the box and say, are we doing things that are still relevant in 21st century? I think the example was already used this morning about quit doing a report and see how many people misses those reports. I had a boss initially, you know, he used to tell me, he says, Ananth, don't do this report and let's see who calls us. And that's his way of trying to kind of see if the report is relevant, because we're all creatures of habit, so we get used to seeing the report. And, you know, I'm not kidding, maybe I should call my counterpart in Washington State DOT, and I don't know, it used to be Paula Hammond, now there's been a change there. But they send us a report about yay thick. I think it's a quarterly report, and I get that. Now, I look at it very briefly and put it in file cabinet 11, which is recycled, sorry. But, you know, my point is I know there's valid for that report in Washington State, but me seeing that really doesn't. So again, if they quit sending that report to me, I would not miss it. I would not miss it. So the point here is, are we doing things still that are relevant in 21st century? Are we still hanging on to things that we've always done it, and that it adds cost and it brings this issues? So we're trying to morph ourselves into a 21st century agency. And in construction, obviously you've seen our utilization of a lot of the alternative contracting techniques, whether it's the public-private partnerships or design build or concession models, that's really served us well. It sustains, I think there's going to be an aspect about financial sustainability. All of these help us sustain and stretch our dollar that much more. You know, you can definitely raise taxes and raise fees and get more revenue, or you try to quit doing things that doesn't make any sense and generate more capacity within your existing revenue streams to deliver more work. Laser profiling and videotaping of pipelines. Again, that's a technology that's there. We need to utilize that, and we've been. Pavement smoothness incentive, disincentives. One of the part of my jobs is I'm on the road a lot, and that means I'm on the road a lot too, pavements. And I can tell you, there's some great quality pavements that our contractors are building. I've driven I-95 up on the East Coast about 10 times over the last 2-3 weeks as a nice concrete paving job in Brevard County that was finished, smooth. I-10, there's a couple of projects up near Tallahassee that was recently finished. That thing is about as smooth as you can imagine. So we have challenged the industry. We have relied on academia help in trying to process the data and help establish the kind of performance measures that are achievable, that are reachable, but are a target. And our industry have stepped up in delivering good quality infrastructure projects, because that helps, again, the overall goal of environmental sustainability.